I think Tom's doing it, but I just make sure the phone gets answered. Track your consults. Those are the super important metrics. Some of the metrics can just fall by the wayside. That's okay. But answer the phone. That's so critical. You got to keep it coming because you're going to get busy. You may not answer the phone, and then 3 months from now, you're not going to be busy wishing you'd have answered the phone 3 months ago. So that's just like that's the up downs of a growing family law firm.
Welcome back to the Sterling Family Law Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tyler Dolph. I have Jeff Hughes with me, and we are continuing our series on watching our boy Tom build his firm. We're going to review February today, which was the best month you've ever had. Is that correct?
That is correct. In terms of top line revenue, yes, definitely.
Congratulations. Incredible. We were just talking before this episode that you have about doubled your firm since the beginning, which is an amazing milestone, and are feeling the effects of that additional work. So why don't we get started? Give us a preview of how February went, walk us through the metrics, and then we can get into it.
Sure. So let's start with metrics. Top line revenue was as you said, my best month so far. We did about 33,500 in terms of top line revenue. I don't want to jinx it. I think in March we might hit 50, but we'll get to March next month. We had 9 hires. My expenses have obviously gone significantly up. 99,500. I'm just using as like a catch-all expense. I can maybe one day walk through more specifically what that is here. But now we have the 2 offices, the marketing, dabbled in Google Ads, so I'm still not officially running them full throttle. And then obviously the biggest reason for the increase in the expenses is my new employee. February was her first full month. So total expense is $23,000 a month. And again, that's really without running Google Ads. I've estimated that might be closer to like 27 or 28 once I start really running Google Ads, or maybe even more than that. We'll have to test the market. So profit was about, not a terrible month, but about an average month, just because even though the top line revenue went up, the expenses went up with it. So about 10,500 in profit. But although that profit number is the same, that's with me doing significantly less work on the family law side. So it's almost feels more like, if I was reporting on profit last year, it basically was money that I was earning from working myself, whereas now it feels more like certainly not passive, as I've been doing it. It's probably the most I've ever worked in my life, but at least having somebody else to help out doing the legal work.
Well, Tom, if I were with you, I would give you a big hug. Congratulations. I am so thrilled for you. The biggest month ever for revenue, the biggest month ever for new hires. You had 9 new hires last month.
Yes.
You brought an associate on. You've doubled your firm. This is like what we've been building for a year and a half, just watching you do this. So this is really good. Congratulations.
Thank you. And as I said, March, I'm trying not to get too overconfident, because I know February and March tend to be the busiest months of the year. Hopefully that'll bleed a little bit into April. But yeah, I'll just tease up. We're sitting here March 23rd. I think we're somewhere in the mid 40s in terms of top line revenue. So I would love to break that 50 barrier if we can. But yeah, the question is because then, right, the expenses have stayed the same unless I turn on ads a little bit, but still profit will obviously March is going to be a great month. Which is great because I have a tax bill to pay from last year. And yeah, my associate has been great, worth every penny. I got to figure out a way to pay her more as soon as I can, because she's fantastic. And then one thing you didn't hear me mention when talking about my reporting is my lead tracking has just become a mess. I need some type of automation here, because I couldn't keep track of my leads before, and now it's much, much worse.
And you do not have a CRM yet, correct?
I have my case. So far I'm only using it for like time tracking and billing and invoicing. I have not. I think they do have a way to track leads, but it's all manual, as far as I know. So basically, I have What Converts, if you guys know what that is. I think it's similar to CallRail. And so basically, every time someone calls, I get an email afterwards saying, here's like a summary of the call, basically an AI generated summary of the call. And and then it just gives like their name, their phone number, and everything like that. But I don't know, it's a lot to track, especially when I'm, if I'm in court or doing other, work for doing other like patent work on the side or something. It's just become overly burdensome to start tracking every single, manually tracking every call that comes in. So I don't know how you larger firms do it. I assume there's some type of automation out there, but I have not found it yet. So that sounded like a sentence, but it's more of a question.
Jeff, do you remember around this size when you guys encountered a similar issue?
Well, we weren't on Salesforce yet, so we were doing everything manually, basically on a Google Sheet. That's how we were doing it. We had a team already at that point answering the phone, so that was their whole job. So you're in a different scenario here, Tom, because you're running two businesses at once while you're trying to figure out how to keep track of this really important metric, right? Leads and consults. So you didn't put anything down for consults. So are you not even able to track that because you're doing so many phone calls that you're not sure? You have to go back and think through each one. I
might have been able to. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I also filled out the sheet this morning.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not trying to beat you up here because this is a growth issue. So this is a good problem to have. It just like a side question here. Which one of these is your side hustle now? Is it the IP work or is it the family law firm that you started?
I don't know. I guess I had this idea of like once I hired an associate, and I think I talked about this for a while, that my legal work from the family law firm would drop off. She would be handling, majority of the legal work, and I would actually wind up picking up more patent work because, and then basically like running the business. But that hasn't happened. And she's busy. I have a, she's definitely keeping busy. I don't know. It's just, workflow is just, I don't know. We had enough new cases come in that I still feel, even though I've offloaded a bunch to her, that I still feel busy. But still not at that point in revenue yet, or even really close to it, where I could consider dropping off, or at least consistently. And I've done some math on what I would need that number to be, and it's probably a little bit less than double what I did in February.
So we're in the 50s. You need to be in the 50s consistently.
Yeah, maybe even closer to 60. Yeah, I think for it to make sense for me to fully drop off. And I'd want to see that. I wouldn't, not like if we did 60 in April, I would jump, I'd want to see that over a couple months.
It feels like that inflection point's coming though.
Well, yeah, we'll see, right? We're in the busy time of year, so let's hope things come up. But, again, I've had two very different experiences with Google Ads. One, the first time I ran them, I set a pretty high weekly budget, and I got a ton of, in like a couple of days, I got 9 calls from Google Ads, but like 5 of them were not even real leads, and I don't know, and it wound up being a mess. I couldn't even I think 4 of them, the number that I tried calling back was a dead line, so it wasn't something was going on with that. So I wound up shutting it off, and then I basically retargeted them. I'm kind of like playing around with it myself. So I shrunk the area on the map to be very small, pretty much like only surrounding the area of my office. And then I turned them back on, and the lead volume has been low. So I think I only got, in a full week, I think I only got 3 LSA leads, but they were all good quality leads. I think 2 of those signed, and another one is at the consult stage. So, I'm thrilled with that. But obviously, there's got to be some middle ground where I can increase that number and still keep the quality good.
And from a capacity standpoint, would you say your associate's full?
I'd say she's probably at like 75, 80%. So she's busy.
So are you thinking in order to get to the next level, you got to...
No, I'm not. To hire someone else, was that your question? Yeah. I don't know. I think that would increase my overhead to a point that would be a little bit too intimidating. I think it would make more sense for me to just drop the side work. And I don't know. It's a good question. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I definitely am not going to be actively recruiting anytime soon. I think if someone were to refer someone to me, which is what happened with her, if they knew like some fantastic attorney that was really looking, I might consider it. But yeah, I'm definitely not putting any job postings on Indeed anytime soon. Certainly not before the summer or even during the summer.
What if you're always hiring 3 months too late and you don't even know it? By the time you think you need another attorney, the damage is already done. Your team's burned out, cases are piling up, utilization's through the roof because hiring was never about gut feel. It's about data. Sterling Lawyers built an 80-employee family law firm by forecasting our hires every single month. We're teaching the exact method to predict your next hire in a free webinar. When to start recruiting, what roles to fill each month, and how to protect your profit margins. The link is in the show notes below.
Tom, have you given thought to your next hire being a non-attorney? Someone to support the two of you?
Well, maybe. I think if I were to drop the patent work and go full-time, then probably, yeah. Then maybe my next hire would be a paralegal after that. I think if I keep with the patent work, then no, I think my next hire would be another attorney. Primarily because I'm in like 2 counties, and I would love to have an attorney handling each county. So if I dropped, I would probably take the one county and she would take the other, which makes sense for geographically where we live. Because I live in Nassau and she lives out in Suffolk. And if I were to hire a new attorney, I would want a Nassau County attorney.
So you're still working through like when is the right time to drop the IP work? And right now, early indications are that you need to string together 3 or 4 months in that 60-ish range before you're going to feel that comfort level to do that.
Yeah, I think even if I hit 50-ish, I'd be okay because then if I was full time, we could bring in a little bit more from that too. Just because I'm naturally operating a little bit slower with the IP work on the side. But yeah, I would want to see consistent in the 50s. And she also, in each month, both in February and in March, she brought in probably the highest value case each month. She brought them in. At least for March. I'm trying to think February.
Are you aware of what your lead flow is in the 2 different counties right now? Or is she getting about the same as you're getting in your county?
No, and that's the problem. Is it's still she'll handle both counties. It's just very for her to go to court, it's an hour, 15 minutes in each direction in my county, whereas in the other county, it's 20 minutes in each direction, right? So no, most of the work is still in my county. That's the downside. And she'll do it. She knew that was the case when she joined, but the goal was within 6 months to a year that she would be more out in Suffolk County.
Focused out in her county, yeah.
Yeah, because that's, my first office in Massapequa is Nassau County. So that's still, we're still mostly getting leads from MapPack. And so, most of that's here. We have gotten a few local leads from Bayshore, from the new office, which is great. Yeah. I've slipped off I'm usually pretty militant about getting reviews. I've slipped on that the last few weeks, which I need to get back on top of.
Growing pains. Mm-hmm. How are you with answering your phone? Do you feel like you're getting your phone answered all the time, or what's happening?
Someone just called like 30 seconds ago. So,
oh, great.
So that was amazing.
So this podcast cost you a client. I'm sorry.
Okay. I have the backup answering service. Just another issue that, they're okay. I'm always asking, is there a way we could be doing this better? And I don't think so. I don't think I'm quite yet ready to jump into the AI answering service. I think we talked about that on the last episode, so I won't harp on it. Though I do know that firms that have done it with some success. But I had someone call me the other day, and I picked up while I was driving. I was on the way back from court, and they were like, "Are you a robot?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure." And so that I don't know. But bottom line, they were a little frustrated that the previous firm they called, that an AI voice answered the phone.
What happened with that caller? Did they set up a consult?
That's actually the LSCA lead. That is, I think she's meeting with him later this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Good feedback.
I think he quickly hung up. He quickly hung up on the phone. But but it could have been a terrible AI service, whereas maybe a good one might not have thrown him off so much. So who knows? But I think I'm not ready to jump there yet. But as of right now, my answering service is just pretty much answering and telling them that I'll call them back when I can, which is not. And I need to at least, which they're capable of doing. I need to at least get them to start booking consults, but I don't have a great sense of my calendar or her calendar yet, which I should be making a priority. But there's like 10 things that I should be making.
Yeah, this is the first podcast I can remember where you're kind of behind and you're saying, I should be doing that. I should be doing that. You're really feeling it right now.
I very much am, yes.
I think I know the answer to this because I know Jeff pretty well. But Jeff, what advice do you have for Tom in this moment as the serial entrepreneur, leader that I know you to be? What would you do if you were in Tom's shoes?
I think Tom's doing it, but I just make sure the phone gets answered. Track your consults. Those are the super important metrics. Some of the metrics can just fall by the wayside. That's okay. But answer the phone. That's so critical. You got to keep it coming because you're going to get busy. You may not answer the phone, and then 3 months from now, you're not going to be busy wishing you'd have answered the phone 3 months ago. So that's just like that's the ups and downs of a growing family law firm.
I used to wear an Apple Watch, and I kind of got sick of it because it was always bing bang. So now I turned it back on just to stop me from missing calls. So when someone calls, even if I'm busy, like right now, you didn't even see, but I just clicked it off. So this way it'll ring my answering service will pick up. So this way I'm not missing any calls, even if I'm not I'll get back to them after this, but at least it's not a missed call. It's not going to like a voicemail or a dead, So someone's picking up the phone and talking to them and gathering information and telling them I'll call them back.
There's very few things that make me more anxious and kind of close to a panic attack than not answering the phone. It's just like I'm wired that way. It's just such an important thing.
It is. I know. If I could prioritize that and starting to get more consistent reviews and figure out my LSAs, I think
those are the big three.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more.
Those are the leverage things to focus on, though. So you're doing the right stuff.
Yeah. Definitely
work through this. Part of the growing pains. So
I know it's a lot, and then taking vacation next month. So trying to figure out what's going to happen there. I'm gonna have to have her doing intake for a week, which she's fine. She's done it. They used to at her old firm. They used to make them do intake for like certain like an hour, here and there. But she's busy on top of that. So
yeah. Hey, well, have you thought about hiring an overseas worker that comes in a little bit cheaper?
I've thought about it. Yeah, but so I think more of my missed calls tend to be after hours rather than during the actual workday. So right, if you get someone overseas, I mean, they're still working, 8 or maybe even a 10-hour day if you get a good one, but still need a backup answering service anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm talking more just doing a lot of the admin stuff that you're kind of swimming through right now. So,
like what?
Well, like tracking your numbers, and are you getting your bills out on time? That's something that you could easily delegate out to have someone do.
Yeah, that I'm good with. This month I was a little behind because it was my first month using the new software, and it took me like 3 days to get my bills done. It was a really frustrating process. But now that I have it figured out, it's gonna be way faster.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great month in the books. We're going to have a bigger one next month, so I'm excited to hear.
Yeah. So from any advice from a lead tracking standpoint, or just got to do it manually at this point? Is that it?
Seems like you have to, yeah. Seems like you're in that. I mean, you do know your calls coming in because that you can probably look up real easy, right? But you just don't know the quality of those calls. Yeah. You're getting a transcript from every one though?
Yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, you can just easily dump that into an AI and it can like score them for you at least. You could train that in no time.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I could do that. That's another thing I want to add to my list is starting to use AI in some form because everyone seems to be doing it, but again,
everyone's talking about it. I don't know if everyone's doing it, and I'm not even sure everyone's getting value out of it right now, but that's still
that's a great point.
Yeah. Don't stress it because you could like kill yourself trying to like quote catch up to nothing. Catch up to a phantom. It's important, but start where it's simple and easy to make sure you're protecting your data, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Excited for you, Tom. This is a great moment in time. You're going to look back on this and be like, man, I was so busy then, and be able to see the firm.
I hope so. I hope one day I'll look back and not be so busy.
You got a couple more years of this. The problems just get bigger until you get enough staff that you can focus on the real big issues.
Yeah. That's been my goals from the start. So
yeah, you haven't wavered from that. You've been really focused on that. So this is just another step. You're getting there. We're getting to watch it in real time. It's fun.
Yeah, March we'll do next month. March will be a fun one to report. I'm hoping. I think one more case will hit that 50 mark.
Cool.
Which would be
go get it. You got to call that lead back. That just
two of them.
Yeah. I just got the transcript, so let's see what it's about.
Tom, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Love hearing your story and journey, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.